And Molly.
My lovelies.
She really does just know how to do this podcast now. I'm
your-
going to go and sit on Mama's lap.
Give me your head. Yes, that's right.
I'm going to sit on Mama's lap for an hour.
You know when you just like want to help a dog and then they refuse the help?
Yeah, I think I've done several public service announcements directly to dogs. Many times.
We're talking to you.
And it's just really just like, just let me do it.
You know how like we learned on TikTok that they're like everything else that we learn, that there's like cat talk, cat language.
Yeah.
And they're like, and
there's
they like
special
commands basically.
Which makes sense because apparently cats only meow for our benefit. Like
they like picked it up so they can it's like dogs and smiles. They figured
out a way, yes, like they figured out a way to like be like these stupid idiots. Meow.
Yeah, they're like on another level.
Yeah, they're
cats.
like meow meow, like telling us stuff.
Like they know shit.
Yeah, they do. Cats are different. Cats are different from like I feel like dogs. No, this is really what I think. I feel like dogs are more people-like in a lot of ways. They're very like emotional.
Like we made them this way. Like and it shows.
But I do think that like naturally, like we kind of
are
the pack mentality. Like it's just dogs and people are a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
And cats and people also a tale as old as time. But cats are different.
It's more like a coexistence.
Yeah, cats are like from another planet to me.
That's my thing. I was like thinking about like the movie Arrival.
I love that movie.
For me, I would have sent an Amy Adams and a cat.
Okay, tell me more about this.
What if a cat like knows what's up?
Sure. Like the cat gets in there and it's like,
yeah, they're like to the circle. They're like,
no, like,
and they're like that means
No, I genuinely like the whole category of feline in general.
Category is
because we're talking about lions, we're talking about leopards.
Yeah,
jaguars. They're really mystifying to me because I think like have you ever seen a cat like fit through a small hole and you're like, are you made of gelatin?
Or they like get into a bowl.
Or like they fall from like several feet and they just like land on their feet.
They're like invincible.
They don't have gravity.
If I were invincible. They also love Clay Aiken.
During Pride to bring up Clay.
I know.
Speaking of Clay Aiken, do you guys like my haircut?
It is the Clay Aiken, isn't it?
It's the Aiken.
It is.
No, I've literally been inching towards this haircut.
Inching.
Well, because I basically have done every Bob, Robert for all you technicals.
You've been edging the Amelie haircut for at least 2 decades now.
Right. So like I did the Amelie haircut when Amelie came out, as we all know. And by as we all know, you know.
We have pictures if you guys want.
I might have to find it.
Yeah.
And that's like a little bit more of a 90s take because it has more of like the stack in the back.
It was like the Paige Davis era.
Exactly. It was more of like, we're doing like the Vidal concave graduated stack situation. But
this is giving more of like Vidal in the 60s.
It's
like OG
it's almost
Vidal.
more even like flapper era.
Okay,
like the little 1920s, and then it's also giving like that Gen X girl that's like kind of alternative. And like she probably has like the Judy Funnies like shaved here.
Sick.
But like I don't. She actually cut into my hairline a little bit here.
So you are the Judy Funny shaved here.
Yeah. Anyways, I just thought, why not?
Are we going to like a poetry slam tonight?
Yeah, we are. My poetry slam was like, "This is capitalism is hard."
Right, and everyone's like, "Yeah."
Why are we doing this? What was that like TikTok that we were watching? It was like stand up or something.
Yeah,
and I completely agreed with it. It was like exactly what I'm talking about all the time. It's literally like it was a culmination of everything that I say on this podcast every week, and it was
really well said.
No, it was basically like, like I was like, oh, like. The dollar's not worth as much. Like, let's just say it is.
And he was like,
it's all made up.
He was like, they turn off the stock market at the end of the day and turn it back on every morning.
And they're like, it's gonna blow. Yeah. Something's not gonna. We're due to crash any day now.
And it's like, just don't turn it back on.
Maybe don't turn it on.
Right.
Like when you pull outside of like the game, the rat race. Yeah. And you're literally like, all of this is made up. It's all completely arbitrary.
Yeah, but it's like, it is a house of cards, you know? It's giving House of Cards.
Yes.
Like, the game, it's like, it is still a simulation. Like, they made it up and we're, like, in the game, but, like, pulling out a card in the game does, like, destroy reality.
It destroys a type of reality.
Right, but, like, what's on the other side of that?
Freedom.
Is it freedom or is it chaos? Is chaos freedom?
Freedom? comment below, is chaos freedom.
I mean, it's so crazy. Like, our brains really are hardwired to just, like, keep us safe.
Right.
So, like, we'll do anything to avoid the chaos.
Right. No, that's honestly true. Like, we are hardwired to resist change.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to keep ourselves in this state that they're in. This is what we need. This is the state we should be in. Like, even like when everyone knows who's ever tried to shift some pounds or this and that, like, our bodies are going to try to stay the size that they are for resource guarding and like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like metabolic adaptation or whatever. Like,
so when you were cutting your hair, was your hair like,
no, it was great. Because I cut off, like, almost all the rest of that old bleach from when my hair was pink.
Yeah.
That was, like, still at the bottom, and it was, like, get rid of that.
You also haven't been to a salon in, like, 1,000 years.
I know. I had to cheat on my BFF, Kelly, who he's been doing my hair since we went to hair school together many moons ago.
Oh,
but
Kelly.
He's in the city, and, like, I did not have the time and schedule to, like, make that happen for us, and it's a lot for him to come up here.
Yeah, it is a lot.
And, you know, it's like 90 minutes outside of the city, so.
And he does it, like, he's so
fucking best.
And he brings this little dog Pixie.
No, he's one of my favorite people I've ever met.
He's
in
like
my
an
life.
angel.
Yeah, I love him. But I didn't have time, and my hair was so overgrown, and they opened this new salon kind of near us.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me give it a go, and
here we are.
She was great.
She's great. I love it.
So if you guys are ever in the Hudson Valley area, go see Mia at Sky Studio. There's a little plug.
I'm always like, well, what about, I want to get my appointments though first. Let me book me first.
Oh, yeah, right?
Yeah.
I already did.
Good.
But yeah, it was nice to go to a salon. And
is it like so nerve-wracking for a hairdresser to do a hairdresser's hair?
Or
is it like
know.
Nice?
For me, like, it depends, I guess, on the person, right?
Yeah.
But for me, the whole time, I'm like such a cheerleader.
Yeah, you're nice.
So I was literally just like, this is a hard haircut. So she's like getting like all like the precise like details. Yeah. And then like she like turned it and I said, girl, that is precise as hell. And she like laughed.
Were you like, girl, you ate with this?
Yeah, I know. And she was like, thank you.
I'm sure that's like so refreshing.
Yeah, maybe. And I was like, and then and she nailed it. She nailed the bang. She nailed the. And we did like a shorter, you know,
everything.
Statement bang.
Yeah.
So.
It's a statement look.
It's
a statement hair.
Thanks. I like it.
I just like love the idea of you like going like this and it coming right off like a Monet exchange and like the same hairs underneath.
Oh my god, the pussy wig.
And it's like the same
wig.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's giving that.
I love it.
Yeah, so this is what I'm going for. This is my drag for the beginning of the summer. We'll see what happens.
I love your shirt too. It's a Bijou Designs original.
I'm wearing a Bijou shirt, one of our shirts. This is the Nomi Malone shirt.
It's like a tattoo shirt. It's like inspired by tattoos.
It's actually kind of inspired by your Nomi Malone tattoo, which I don't know if you can really show it right now, but you guys
Molly's
have
up
seen
on me.
It says Nomi's Got Heat. We love Showgirls. And if you haven't seen our Showgirls episode, go back and watch it. I feel like
I don't think we have a video for that one. That one's a listen only.
Oh, you guys are gonna have to go old school and just listen to
analog.
The dulcet sounds of my. Oh my god! Speaking of the dulcet sounds, not to continually talk about this haircut, but my hairdresser goes, "Where are you from originally?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm from like Massachusetts, you know, Boston area, whatever." And she's like, "I thought I like heard an Irish accent." And I literally exploded. And I was like,
the best thing that anyone's ever said to you.
Like, I could not believe it.
That is the unlocking of your soul.
I know. And I was like, that's so funny because that's not the first time that's happened to my family. Like, so, like, my grandmother is from Marlborough from, like, through and through. Mm-hmm. And she had what I would consider, like, a Marlborough, like, a perfect Central Mass accent.
Can we hear it? Can you do it?
I can only do it as her, like,
as her.
yelling
do it
at
as
me.
her. Yeah.
Yeah. Jocelyn! Would you kids come and pick up this mess? Go to your room and pick up your babies.
It's so comforting.
I want you to go. I do not want you taking my Cutco knives to school to cut your hamburgers, all right?
Your hamburgers specifically.
Yeah, like some nonsense. So then I called Annie Marion, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to come over. Like, that's, like, the accent or whatever. So the point of that is...
It holds me.
All this to say is she loved to go to Hawaii.
That is so funny.
And she always had this story. She was like, one time she went with, like, another couple from the same area. So it was my grandfather and her. So a bunch of people in an airport.
That's so iconic.
They were, like, in California in the airport waiting to, like, do, like, the transfer to the Hawaii whatever. And people were like, oh, my God, are you guys from Ireland?
That's so funny because your grandfather, like, does not look like he's from Ireland.
Yeah, he was looked like he was from Portugal, which is where he was from.
Yes.
Yes. But like you hear all 4 of these like greatest generation Massachusetts people. I guess there's a bit of I mean, if you think about it, there's a lot of Irish people in Massachusetts, so that makes perfect sense.
It sounds so different to me because of like the hard R's, like the Irish hard R is like.
Yeah,
is that more like a Scottish?
No, it's not. Like when you think of like the Dublin accent, I can't do it that good, but it's like it's a bit of. Oh, you went for your starter. Your starter. What will you have?
I think this is just like remnants of the Ireland trip that we took. That you just Madonna'd it the whole time.
I Madonna the Irish accent.
Yeah, I did too. Honestly,
guys, I wasn't like trying to do it. But anyways, all this to say,
you have to say like after every sentence.
Yes. Oh, you're going out like.
Yeah. When we were hanging out with like our Irish friend, a lot he said like after every sentence, and I adopted that.
Yeah.
Hard.
You want to get a drink, like?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, that's grand.
Like.
Yeah.
He used to be like, "You're a powerful woman, Alaina." Like.
I know. Oh my God, Alaina, can I use one of your emotional support tissues? The student.
I only have one, but are we gonna share it?
Yeah,
I guess you can like rip it in half.
I have like a little bit of a landscaping day runny nose happening.
Wow, this is real. Look at this.
With over
the matrimonial,
over the flame.
The matrimonial. Wow, you took one square.
Can you spare a square?
Oh my God.
I just had. Like,
I'm more generous than that.
Oh my God, just like a really runny. Look at
when
me.
your allergies act up, take out your nose ring.
Right. I wish I had a nose ring. Actually, do you think? I don't think I have enough room on my face for a nose ring.
No, you don't need a nose ring.
Right.
Don't do anything to that face.
You're so sweet.
No, not a single thing.
But you have a nose ring, and I love it on you. It's
but I'm more of like a.
It just highlights your beautiful face.
I forget I have it.
A face?
Yeah, the ring I see, and I don't see the face. Eyes of the face.
I only see the nose ring. You know what? I face facial blindness. That's the thing.
I feel like I'm getting facial blindness.
No, that's Alaina. You are.
No, I like literally meet people up here like doing random shit, and then like 2 seconds into talking to them, I'm like, "Who are you again?"
No, that's
like I'm not kidding.
But you have such good facial recognition.
Like, yeah, but like
you'll literally see a
for
commercial for something random, and you'd be like, "That's Thackeray Banks."
It's like literally only on screens. If I see people in real life, I like can't register them.
Okay, so just like real life folks can't see.
Like I was telling you, I went to get like a cappuccino at this place yesterday, and there were like 4 girls working.
Yeah.
And they all looked exactly the same to me. I don't know who I ordered from or who I paid.
Do you think maybe that when you go into establishments, you just get overstimulated and just like check out?
Maybe, and I'm like overly aware of like everyone in there.
Yeah.
And you know, like I'm not gonna lie, ever since the GOP decided they wanted to start re-attacking the LGBTQ community, I'm definitely have my hackles up a little bit more.
Absolutely, like. I guess who was it that recently which organization just announced another thing?
It was like Human Rights Watch or something.
Yeah, it was basically just like this is a very dangerous time for LGBTQ folks. So
cool.
Everybody, this is why Pride, was a riot, because the fight's the fight.
Don't you love being scapegoated by big oil? Yes, it's my favorite. It was on my bingo card. For my life.
Well, if it's on your bingo card, then you're gonna win.
I'm winning.
Bingo.
Hashtag winning. Remember that?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Anyway.
But today is a catch-up episode.
Yeah.
And I think we're just gonna do a good old-fashioned catch-up where we're just gonna like see where the wind takes us. But I am gonna remember to talk about the candle.
Oh my God, good job.
Which I've like literally forgotten to do in the last 2 podcasts.
You're so smart.
But you guys know about it, okay? You guys know all about it. The candle of the day.
Am I blocking it? No.
Nope. It's from the Punks collection. It's the Siouxsie Cherry Bomb candle.
Mm-hmm.
The way that I would describe this candle, I always try and think of a different way to describe it, because like sometimes something gets you and it doesn't. Like if you love like a luxurious like the Tom Ford cherry perfume, I feel like you would like this. It's giving like earthy but also cherry.
But
it's
also
like
Ludens.
Yes, it's like a juxtaposition of that like poppy red cherry vibe.
Yeah.
Mixed with earthy floral citrus. Like it's really super well balanced, and then you just get this little peak top note of like a really delicious cherry smell. It doesn't smell like fake lip glossy.
Artificial.
No,
it doesn't smell artificial.
Good. It smells really good. Like it's almost like this is gonna make it sound fake, but this is the best thing I can think of.
Yeah.
A melted cherry popsicle. That you drop in like the forest ground, and then it's like that like earthy musky smell. with a little bit of like sweetness.
That's so great.
Tart though.
Can I just tell you that like what triggered that memory that was just triggered? We were having a road trip. Having a road trip, by the way.
Okay. Who's we?
My family.
Okay.
So it was me, my dad and my mom in the front, and then me and my brother in the back. And this was in Europe, and I was eating this like I love these popsicles in Europe. They were like the iced tea brand. They made popsicles.
So it was like iced tea popsicles.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And I was like obsessed with them. And
how good was like a sweet tea popsicle? That should be a thing.
Yeah, there was like peach ones too. But I was in the car eating it in the back, and it was like starting to melt, and then my window was open, and this huge fly lands on the top of my popsicle. And I like didn't know what to do. So
what are the odds?
I like literally handed it to my mom in the front seat. And instead of just like taking it from me, she literally like deep throated it in my hand, like without even looking at it. And the fly was on it. She like, I was holding it. She just goes,
oh, because she went to
and I was like, there was a fly on it. And she was like, it was like this big.
Our mothers, the things that our mothers do.
I know.
Like that reminds me of when we were little kids. Like I could say that both of our families are very like fussy. Like we don't want shit on our rattle. You guys ever heard that saying? It's like you have to be neat, a little compulsively neat.
Yes.
We come from families that are compulsively tidy.
Yes.
So my mom would never let us have like push pops like the Flintstones ones because they would leak through the bottom, and like ring pops. Like she hates sticky. I hate sticky hands. And so whenever we would have like soft serve ice cream cones, because you know when you're a kid you always want a fucking cone.
Yeah.
And then so she would be like, when you need them to be cleaned up, let me know. So she would never get like her own. Usually, well, sometimes she would. When we got older, she would get her own because we weren't like giving her our ice cream. But when we were little, she would literally just go. We'd be like, "Mama," because it would start to drip down her hands, and she would just go and clean it up and give it back to us.
Oh
so
my
it was like be like nice and neat. But that's exactly like what your mom did. Like, can you clean this up for me so I can finish eating it?
That is so funny.
It's like so mama bird. Like
they don't even think.
No, they don't. They're like, here.
And they like spit it back into your mouth.
Can you imagine having like 2 kids under whatever 3
with ice cream cones in their hands?
No.
Absolutely not. No.
It wasn't, we weren't going to get there fast enough. Little kids can't eat fast enough before it melts.
And then we saw that TikTok about that kid that got burned from the fucking cup of noodles.
Guys, PSA, do not give children hot cups of noodles.
Or like
or hot
anything,
liquid in general.
I guess.
You gotta be super, he got like 2nd to 3rd degree burns on his lap from cup of noodles.
That's fucking cray.
Yeah, so. And apparently the hospital workers say it's extremely common with cup of noodles.
Wow.
That little kids be getting burned with cup of noodles.
I smell a
It's not their fault, but
who, the kid?
That cup of noodles. But you gotta be
I
careful
guess
with
their
hot
packaging
water.
Needs to be a little bit more.
I mean, you've heard about stuff
They
like,
gotta put a warning. It's 18 plus for cup noodles
18
only.
plus for cup of noodles.
You gotta show an ID to buy it.
I mean, you've heard about all the McDonald's lawsuits that the coffee's too hot.
Of course.
The hot tub is too hot.
The hot tub is too hot. And I agree, the coffee is too hot.
Yeah.
Like, I'm buying this coffee, I want to drink it today.
Right, I need it to be a drinkable volume. I feel like Starbucks has figured out, like, a good temperature to give it to you at.
Starbucks is, like, such a fucking annoying company, isn't it?
Tell me more.
They're just, like, annoying.
Okay.
They, like, are union busting, and they fucking take down their pride displays. Because,
did they really?
Yes.
People be taking down their pride displays this year.
I mean,
like the whole Target
it's corporate
thing.
activist. Like, what do you fucking expect?
It's just like, this is why
it's corporations.
Do not support corporate pride. Support small pride.
Yeah.
Me.
Pride is a riot.
Give it to me.
Right?
Or give it to small businesses that are queer. I don't necessarily mean just me, but like look out there for, you know, there's awesome, fun, queer businesses in this country. How supporting small business in this country is actually the American dream. Commerce like that, that's really, it's not capitalism. That's just commerce. Like it's different. Like, I don't know. I just want us to all live in like little beautiful communities with little shops.
Right.
That's like my dream. I think that's how what we all want.
Yeah.
Like we all go to Europe and we're like, how quaint! They have everything they need in
what
this
are these
little walking town.
What are these 2-wheeled bicycles?
Right, a bicyclette.
What are these contraptions?
I'm like, if I was to try and ride the bike to our grocery store, which is literally 5 minutes down the road, not even, I can't do it.
No.
I'll get hit by a truck.
No, our neighbor doesn't. I get scared for her every time.
I'm like, which way are you taking? She takes a very smart pathway. Very smart pathway. Which you have to plan.
I know.
And then I get overstimulated. I can't do it.
I literally our car got hit in that parking lot. Like, people are like, they can't.
No, thank you.
It's so dangerous.
You know, we're just doing our best to be risk analysis professionals in modern times, and it's means stay home.
It's a balance, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of, like, I want to talk about the new episodes of Black Mirror. Because, like,
yes.
these are some shows.
these are some shows. Can we recount all the different episodes that there were again? So
there's like 5, right?
I don't want to spoil anything. So if you guys haven't seen them yet,
or if you don't plan on watching, that's fine. And
yeah,
you just, like,
we're gonna be discussing the Black Mirror episodes. They've been out for like I would think by the time this podcast comes out, it'll be 2 weeks. So
great,
you got to get on that. But the first one is, what's her name? Joan is Terrible.
Joan is Awful.
Yep, Joan is Awful. And then there was the one, the demon one was the last one.
Yeah, the Scottish murder one.
Yes,
I loved that. That was like my favorite one. Like, the show's literally like, you start watching and you're like, what is this?
What's this gonna be? I love it because they're like these little self-contained, like kind of like, I want to say like Goosebumps. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Modern
Twilight Zone, Tales of the Crypt,
X-Files. Yeah, but for us.
Yeah,
for like now.
Yeah,
I love it.
For like tech.
I think they can stand to make more for me.
Their takes on tech are really fun. They're correct.
The dangers of tech. 100.
Yeah.
That's
like the Joan is Awful thing. Like, it made me think of like that show Devs that we watched.
Yes.
And it almost, because I was not satisfied with like the ending of that show, but I really liked what it made me think about.
Devs posited a lot of very good questions.
Yeah.
It was the think piece.
Right.
But like didn't necessarily have like the most satisfying ending because it's talking about a concept that's like really hard to get into.
Yeah.
But they did it pretty good for like a Hulu show that you're like watching during the pandemic about like, what is Devs even about? We're just all programmed. We're lines of code and it's predetermined what we're gonna do, and we can like use code to like look back on what the code was during like Aramaic, the days of Christ. Like we can like
you can use I mean, yes, like reality can be reproduced with a quantum computer. Right. That's
kind of what they were saying, I think.
Yes. Or like, I mean, we know that.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, we just don't have like the computing power.
Right. I think like in order to like have a computer powerful enough to do that, we would need to use like space. And if it's okay,
aliens.
Yeah. If it's okay with everyone, I think we gotta just cool it on space.
So here's my thing though. But here's my thing. Yeah. It's like with these stories, like, oh, by the way, there's aliens and shit.
Yeah.
What are you hiding from us? What is this distraction?
Tell me more. What do you mean?
I'm like, when they come out with this like alien shit, I'm like, what's actually happening that you're not like, what don't you want us to look at?
One thing that I find really interesting in the last like 3 or 4 years is they've definitely been like, and by they I mean the US government has definitely been like, you know, little bits and bobs here where it's like, yeah, like UFOs. Yeah, oh yeah.
By the way,
UFOs are legitimately real. Aliens are real. Like
didn't you know?
Right.
That's like what it feels like.
Right.
Like all of a sudden it's like, oh, all these old guys are like giving talks about UFOs.
Right. They're like, I'm a scientist and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like,
do I need to see credentials? Like, who am I believing? Is this like, what is this, a TED Talk?
Well, you gotta be really careful on TikTok because if you get a little bit too far into like spirituality talk, you get cult leaders coming up.
Yeah,
on
like
your
The
page.
Secret.
Yeah, you have to be very careful with like people that are trying to get you to like join some thought process in a way that's like, give me money, like no.
Right.
Very scary stuff.
It's so easy to start a cult.
It like is.
It really is easy. You just gotta find like one little gimmick and lash onto it. Like, what was Gwen Shamblin? It was like being skinny for God. Like, that's so dumb.
That's literally it.
So like, yeah, it's easy.
And then she went a step further and was like, you will look skinnier if your hair is fucking
big.
Humongous.
Yep. And she was right.
Yeah. And now she's dead.
Now she's dead.
So,
is she?
These are the questions.
There you go.
These are the questions of our lives.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, so these are the questions. But one thing about cult leaders is it takes a very specific type of personality.
Oh, definitely.
I literally don't have that.
It's an Enneagram 3 that has narcissistic personality disorder. I know. I'm aware. I was close. Got close. For those of you who don't know, I got almost sucked into a cult once in India.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to talk about
that?
No,
we can say that for another time. Cliffhanger.
Yeah.
If you guys want to know about my
there was like
cult
a
experience.
few stories that you sort of touched upon when we first started dating that like I just had a hard time getting at first, and now I completely understand.
Like, honestly, me too.
Because like you were literally like some things that you said to me that I was like, wait, but what? Like, and one of them is so simple. You're like, my first language is Chinese, and I was literally like, it is. And, like, I understand that you're Chinese and that you speak Chinese, but I was like, your first language was Chinese? And you're like, yes. I'm like, what do you mean? And you're like, I spoke Chinese first.
That's like I didn't speak English until I went to school.
Right. Like
even me, I'm like, me? Now I'm like, hi, mama.
No, you guys. Yeah, you guys are cute.
Cute me.
I like the way you guys speak. And when you guys try and dumb it down for me, I really appreciate it.
The thing that's so funny about, like, the Chinese that we speak, though, it's like, I don't know that anyone else speaks the kind of Chinese that we have.
Well,
like,
because it's the thing of, like, what's your family
dialect?
Language? Like, your Nell language for your family. We talk about this all the time. Like, this, like, for us, ours is, like, the Mali language, which is, like, oh, shit, I'm a cute baby.
Yeah.
Like, that, you know, all those
Yeah,
words.
but, like, when I'm, like, in Chinatown or other people speak Cantonese to me, like, it's really... You know, if it doesn't sound just like my mom, I can't understand it.
You're like, what? Tell my mommy. Meanwhile, your mom speaks Cantonese, Mandarin. She can, like, understand, like, a lot of different dialects.
Yeah.
And, like,
but she likes to be like, I don't speak Mandarin.
She does.
Like, come on.
I've literally seen her do it.
I know.
I've also seen her do it, like, for, like, Fukienese and, like, different dialects. Yeah. Like, she's like, well, I went in there and they're from this place called this and da-da-da. I'm like, you know all these languages.
Right.
Isn't that amazing?
And she, like, knows Slovak.
She does.
She, like, straight up knows Slovak.
Your mom.
She speaks more Slovak than my dad.
Has not sneakily, but just, like, it all at once, like, oh, you know full Slovak.
Yeah.
When we were in Slovakia, I mean, I guess she's been married to him for so, but she must have, like, a really good ear for languages, too, because it's really complicated language to me. It's the
hardest fucking language. Alphabet. I can't even.
But she's literally just, like, we're sitting around, and, like, when everyone's speaking, she follows.
She's like, they're talking about how, like, they don't talk to the brother anymore. That's every conversation.
And it's like, they don't talk to the older sister anymore.
Yeah.
It's like...
Eastern European families, everyone.
Oh, my Eastern European family?
Oh, my God. The grudges. If there was, like, a flag, if there was, like, an image of a grudge, it would be, like, on the flag.
This is the thing, too, is, like, it's not forever. It's like, oh, I didn't speak to him for 40 years.
Yeah.
And now we're best friends.
Yeah, because, like, the Rangers won.
Yeah. It's just...
Rando.
Sometimes you just are like, I can't talk to you right now.
Yeah.
People come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
And then they'll, like, encounter each other at, like, a family function and then take a shot and everything's fine.
Yeah. They're like, did you want the Jaeger?
Yeah. And they're like...
I had an aunt who was from, like, the Polish side of my family.
Yeah.
And she had 4 children. And at any given moment, 1, 2, 3, or 4 of those kids were not speaking to that woman.
Right. You gotta, like, keep track.
And we're like, who's Annie Marie talking to this week?
Yeah,
like,
you have to be up to date. There's, like, a newsletter.
Yeah,
of, like,
just be like, well, don't invite so-and-so if Annie Marie's gonna be there.
Right? And it's like, if you answer the phone, it's like someone they don't talk to.
Right.
You, like, don't know.
You don't know.
I get it.
And you know what? It's none of my business.
But, like, oftentimes, like, you know, I would, like, hear about the family strifes and stuff.
Yeah.
I get it.
Sure.
Like, I get it. Like,
hey,
it's family's a lot.
At the end of the day, you just gotta, like, do whatever works for you at the moment that you're in.
Yeah.
And people who love you unconditionally and give you space to be you and to figure stuff out, that's great. Yeah. I think that's good. If someone is like, I need space, how good is a little bit of space?
Yeah.
That's actually something...
Speaking of Black Mirror.
I think, yes.
Space.
I think that's something that people should utilize more when they're maybe having conflict with family.
Boundaries.
Or it's
a version of boundaries.
But sometimes it's like, you don't have to cut people off necessarily, but you can just be like, you know what? Love a little bit of space.
Yeah.
I need a little bit of space from this to gain clarity. Because sometimes when you're in something too much and you're like... Clarity. Beautiful.
Thank you.
That was gorgeous.
My album's dropping tomorrow, actually.
I didn't know you knew all the words to that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote it.
Yeah, so sometimes you just need a little bit of space.
Why are all the Albanian pop girlies getting attacked on stage?
Bro.
What's happening?
Leave our Albanian
Does this have to do with Taken?
Alone. Cheche?
Cheche.
Leave them alone. We got, what's her name? BB Rexa got a cell phone thrown at her face.
And Ava Max got slapped in the face.
Dua.
Someone put Dua and Rita in the panic room.
Seriously, call Jody. Call Kirsten. Kirsten? What's her name?
Who?
Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart. The only Kirsten is Kirsten
Dunst. I don't know what I was thinking.
Speaking of, her husband got jacked.
I saw that. I love when people do stuff like that.
I know, it's so funny.
Because you're just like, cool. And he's like,
Christian
don't put me in a box. I can be whatever I want.
Yeah, he bursted right out of that box. But I wanted to go back to that space episode of Black Mirror.
Yes, let's talk about Black Mirror.
No, like, I think those 2 episodes, the Scottish one and the space one,
those are my top 2.
To me, they were like, the writers were like, what is the worst thing we can think of?
And also, just as a complete aside, Josh Hartnett looks great.
Yeah, he does.
He's hot.
He kept it up. He went away he got some space.
He took
and then
some
he came
space,
back.
yes. And what I really appreciated about him was how muscular his legs were.
He got some fucking ham sandwiches on those legs. Yummy.
Doubled.
And then you get Jesse Pinkman.
Is yummy. Who is truly what a good actor.
Yeah, he's a great actor. Fantastic actor.
The concept of this space one where it's like there are these 2 guys doing this like mission in space, and they're using
like for years. Like they're there for years.
What were they calling the person on Earth? It's like a doll that they're using on Earth. It's like
what were they calling
it? Basically, a walking dildo.
It was like a Westworld.
Yeah, basically
they were like machine versions of them.
What were they calling them?
I forgot.
Their icons, their
something
double,
like that. Yeah,
their clone, whatever. It was a fake version of them that they were able to upload their consciousness from space into, so that they could still see like their family and stuff.
Yeah,
which is a really cool concept. But I kept just being like, how?
Yeah.
How does it work?
Like the Interstellar of it all.
Yeah, I'm just like, carry the one.
Yeah, like time.
Right.
What's time?
I'm like, relativity, where are they? Are they experiencing time differently?
Right. Definitely.
Like, do they go and have 5 minutes here and they've been in space for 10 years? Like,
right.
It's a week. Like, I don't know. I just needed some of that. Like, there's a little bit of that for me that I'm like, tell me the truth. But when Jesse Pinkman's... I have to call him Jesse Pinkman.
That's his name.
Because he's Jesse Pinkman.
That's what he looks like.
His name's Aaron Paul, right?
Jesse Pinkman is... Aaron Paul is like... That's a YouTube guy. I don't fucking know who that is.
Is that his name?
Yes.
Yeah. When he plays... It's
Josh Hartnett.
Josh Hartnett as him.
Yeah.
Like, through the plot points of this film.
Can I just be like, okay, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
On all of these Black Mirrors.
Yeah.
When I say they think of like, what's the worst thing I can possibly think of?
They
really go, they like elaborate on these ideas.
Yeah.
Like
we got like a Manson family moment in this.
Right. It's like, okay, imagine like 2 guys are in space, right?
Yes.
And they're by themselves. Like they're there for like, let's just say 20 years. They
right.
have to like do some mission.
Can I be completely immediately? Yeah. I just have to stop it because it's just like it stops there. 2 guys are in space. No one will know any better. They're fucking each other.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just,
Why not?
No one will know.
A hole's a hole. They're fucking anything. They're fucking those suits. Like
right.
they're fucking something.
Right.
But because they're not fucking in their things.
Right.
Because I think they made it a point to show Josh Hartnett like
using his hands,
fingering his wife.
Right. Like a lot.
Fingergate.
Yeah. Well.
And like just giving pleasure instead of receiving, which
right.
made their relationship really nice.
Yeah.
He was like, very loved by his wife.
She was happy.
So basically he's like on Earth in his like clone suit.
Yeah.
Chilling with his wife and 2 kids, living the life.
Yeah.
And then these fucking religious extremists
headed up by a Culkin.
Yeah, this is like the
Rory?
Manson moment.
Right.
They break into the house and they're like, this is an abomination to God, like you're not a real person,
right.
like you're laying with a machine, that kind of shit.
Right.
And then he proceeds to kill the family in front of him when he's like plugged into this thing and destroy his thing.
So his link, so he can't come back now. So then
that's like literally the most horrendous thing I can possibly conjure up.
No, they literally are like, what will human beings do when pushed to the brink?
Like it's literally worse than being there in real life.
Right.
I can't think of anything worse than that.
Yeah.
But this is worse.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It was very bad. Very torturous.
And then of course it goes off the rails because
right. So then like of course Josh Hartnett's character is like, can I use...
He didn't even ask. He offered it. I would never would have done that.
He was super depressed.
Would you have done that?
You know what? I don't know because they needed both people alive in order to make it a successful trip. If they did it alone, I think that they both would have died. So it's basically like either we both die because this guy's going to kill himself or kill me or but he was like getting suicidal, remember?
Yeah.
So he was like, or I can offer him to use my Tamagotchi with my wife, basically.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. So it's like a risk, but like he kind of didn't have a choice. There really is not a choice.
It was the inevitable outcome.
Right.
Was like what happened.
But I don't want to ruin like the full ending because I feel like we can leave some of that just so people can like whatever. But the part that I really, when Jesse Pinkman, when he was playing as if it were, what's his name, Josh Hartnett, inside his thing, he was Josh Hartnett.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was, he really is good.
He's good at it.
Some people are so good at acting, and I think it's so cool because it's like noticing. It's like noticing these like little nuanced things, and it's like for the people that catch it and the people that see it, it's such a nice little like. I see this thing too.
Like it's a study.
Yeah, like I see like this is we're seeing reality the same way. Like he does this, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like that's why people like impressions so much. I think.
Right.
Because it's like an agreed upon. Like this is what we're all seeing, right?
Right.
Like it
Who else is there for you in acting like that level of like
obviously Meryl.
Yeah, Meryl.
There's actually like a bunch of them, but I'm like I can't think of a
who's
single
like,
person.
You know who really has been blowing my mind
Who?
with their schmacting?
Who?
Zendaya.
Oh, Zendaya's a 10 out of 10.
What a
She's
superstar.
Such a good actor.
Oh my, like some of those Euphoria episodes, I like.
No, Zendaya's a superstar.
Unbelievable.
Not even just like even anything, just like out as a person.
Yeah.
She's really like one of my top.
And I love her with Tom Holland. I feel like it's a version of us.
Oh my god, that's so cute. I'm Tom Holland.
Obviously.
Yep.
With that haircut before you got it cut, it was giving Tom Holland.
So Tom Holland in that picture.
Yeah. I love it.
I actually think that's like a 1-to-1.
You know who I think was also so good was Dominique Fishback in that show Swarm.
I'm like shook by her.
She's sick. Like she's like a rising star.
Swarm was like all in all like fine, but her performance was an 1,000.
Over the edge.
It's so interesting.
I love it.
Unique and like I think there are a lot of amazing actors out there right now.
You love Tom Cream as well. Not Tom Cream, Tom Hank.
Tom Hank. I think, Tom Hank he does like the thing like in Forrest Gump, for example.
Okay. That's not the first time you've said this. Yeah.
The scene where he finds out that little Forrest is his son.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. And he's like watching the TV and he's like starts to do this thing where he like steps back and he's like, is he smart? And like I literally lose my mind.
Do we allow this kind of performance in this day and age? Like they don't explicitly say he has anything, he's just really dumb.
They say that he has a low IQ.
Right.
That's all they say.
That's fine, right?
I mean, I think he's pretty respectful about it. Forrest Gump's a fucking G.
I mean, it's a very he is. It's a very like well-rounded
he's a person.
Character.
Yeah, he's a person.
I also know Tom Hanks is a great actor because the Chet Hayes sperm exists within him.
Chet Hayes.
I love Chet Hayes.
You know what? Chet Hayes is hot.
Justice for Chet Hayes. What has he actually done wrong? Tell me.
I mean, I don't know, like the patois of it all. Like, the thing is,
he speaks it.
He likes it. Like he's
speaking
very
it respectfully.
Respectful. I don't know. It's not for me to say.
It's not for me to say either. But like,
so it's not for me to say.
If there were like a white guy walking around being like, I had a Chinese nanny and she spoke Chinese to me all the time, and he walked around speaking Chinese respectfully, I'd be like, that's sick.
Yeah, didn't he have like a girlfriend who taught him it? I think that's the story. It's like he had a girlfriend who like taught him, and he just like really likes it.
Sorry, Molly just needs to get put down on the floor. On the floor.
But like I think I saw an interview with him. It was an interview with him, and he was basically saying like I literally just like it was top of mind because I had just been learning it, and I was on the red carpet, and I just pulled it out, and then it became like as if he only does this.
Yeah, and
he doesn't, but he's just like whatever.
I think he's funny.
Well, I wasn't like a huge like couldn't have given a shit, but then I saw him on Z-Way's show.
Right.
And the sexual tension between the two of them was so palpable that I like had to leave the room.
I
was like,
right?
woo! I couldn't explain it. You guys have to watch it. Tell me what you think. She's like can't get over
No, like
him.
you guys are gonna fuck like right after this, right? Didn't they go to college together?
Did they?
That was like part of it. Was that they like were aware of each other from college?
She went to like Phillips. She's like from
Andover.
Andover.
She went to Exeter.
Yeah.
But watch that clip. It's really funny. The Z-Way. I love Z-Way.
Me too. I just like. Oh wait. Speaking of comedy, we got to talk about all the things we've seen. The John Early stand-up special on Max.
10 out of 10.
Identity Crisis, HBO Max.
Right?
Are you HBO? Are you Max? Are you HBO
Don't
Max?
dead name HBO.
Oh my god.
Right?
Like, so HBO absorbed Cinemax.
Is that what it is?
Is that what the Max is from?
I honestly don't know.
Because Cinemax
I thought they just like made it up.
Anymore.
But yeah, but like all of it's still like an HBO presents. I'm like,
I know. It's like,
are you dropping this or not?
I feel like it's like stuff that they recorded before the switchover and they didn't quite line up when the switchover was going to be.
It's like, are you Brooklyn Peltz Beckham or are you Brooklyn Beckham? Like,
right.
you know?
I know.
Tell me. I don't know.
Nicola Peltz, like...
Are you married or divorced? I can't tell.
What has he done? What has she done to him? It's incredible. She has him wrapped around her finger.
Good for her.
Yeah, I like it for her. She's also a billionaire's daughter, so I literally don't care.
I know, right?
Speaking of billionaires,
this is gonna be like, this is gonna be such old news by the time this comes out. Like, no one will even remember a week from now.
But we have just lived through the Titanic situation here.
I'm surprised that like Tom Sandoval didn't find a way to like
make it about
meander his way into this story, because like no one's talking about Sandoval anymore.
It's good because no one gives a fuck about him right
I know,
now.
right?
He needs to go away.
But I need James Cameron to make the Abyss Titanic crossover event that just happened. Use that.
You know that he came out and literally had a statement after.
Yeah, he was like, it fucking exploded.
It exploded. 1,000%.
He was like, when they lost comms and like controls, he was like, I felt it in my bones that shit exploded. And he's right.
Jim knows.
If
anybody knows what's going on in the deep sea,
on the floor of it,
it's Jim Cameron.
Jim knows beyond the floor.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite J-Lo movie.
Right. Alaina, the thing that like became really apparent to me is that, and you've mentioned this as well, with this whole thing going down with this, you know, spending $250,000 to go to the bottom of the ocean to look through a butthole of a fucking thing to see
the anus.
Like, why do you even want to do that? Why would I don't get it. Just quickly before I forget. It's just apparent to me that not enough people have seen The Abyss.
I know.
You guys.
There were no Abyss memes.
I cannot impress upon you enough. And I know a lot of you haven't seen it yet because I hadn't seen it. It wasn't like big for our generation because it came out a little bit before
it's like
our
from
time.
like 88 or something.
It's still good. It still slaps. It's long, but it's good. Watch The Abyss. It's phenomenal.
I didn't see a single Abyss meme, and it was primed.
Primed for The Abyss.
Also a James Cameron movie. He made both movies that are relevant to this event.
Yes. James Cameron built this huge, like...
bathtub.
It's basically like, isn't it like a satellite dish or something?
Yeah, it makes me, you know, like in GoldenEye where there's like a satellite dish that they like all slide down?
Yes, it's like giving that.
It's like
a big, huge thing, and he filled it with water, and that's where they filmed The Abyss and part of Titanic.
He had it for The Abyss, and he was literally like, what else can I do with this shit? And he was like,
Titanic. We were already so into Titanic before the movie even came out. That's something I need to impress.
Really... Like, it was timed so perfectly.
But, like, Alaina, we were obsessed with Titanic as kids.
The book, that big white book, those white books.
It was fascinating to us, Titanic. Titanic was, like, baby's first mass disaster.
Well, I wonder if millennials are the reincarnated souls of the people that died on the Titanic.
I've posited that question before myself.
And we feel some type of way about it.
It's giving very, we were on the boat.
We were on the boat. Here's my thing about Ocean Gate. Like, if it were me and I had this company, I'd be like, go into this tube. But it would be, I said this to you, it would be that virtual reality thing from the mall.
Like
the ride.
Yes.
That like is a roller coaster.
Movie theaters.
Yeah,
yes.
and you go in, it's like, and you see like a TV with a roller coaster on it.
So just like extremely good virtual reality.
It doesn't have to be that good, Jocelyn. Did you see what they saw?
Yeah.
Like, it looked like it was like,
well, they didn't see anything.
It was like from, you know, Silo, they had to go out and clean. But it's like a little fucking anus hole.
Yeah.
That's all you have to produce is an image there.
Yeah. That's it.
$250K? Fine, we're alive.
Yeah.
But I also saw someone do some maths.
Mm-hmm.
$250K for a billionaire is like a cup of coffee.
I know.
So take that.
Isn't that, like, that's what should be making us feel the most sick. Is that these people's income is so, like, that's life-changing money for more than one person.
Yeah.
Like, that's life-changing money for several people.
Like, spent frivolously on
untimely
death.
And kill your son.
Yeah, and kill your son who didn't want to go. And
that's like, the person I feel the most bad for is the 19-year-old and his mother.
I feel bad for literally none of them.
Yeah.
My favorite take is like, oh, they love being like libertarian tech whatever until they need like public service to come save them.
Bingo.
I want my tax dollars back.
Right.
I didn't want to spend money on that. I don't want to spend money on anything that they're spending money on.
Me neither.
Meanwhile, I get like 4 flat tires a year.
Because these roads. Yeah, we've got $250,000 to implode ourselves in the middle of the ocean to see. By the way, The hubris. It's a haunted. I know. It's haunted.
And that is the best case scenario, though, that they fucking imploded.
They did.
They're lucky.
No, they definitely. It was,
because can you imagine?
I literally read like a billion things about it because that's how I am, and like it was like
everyone did.
No, they didn't even know.
Great.
Before their brains could process what was happening, it was over.
That's what I want. I make it like I always say, make it
kind
fast.
Of just like.
I love that.
Right.
Conscious, just light off.
That being said, I am concerned about the fact that they're in the haunted ocean.
Well, now they're the ghosts. They're ghosts now.
Are they dancing in?
No, billionaires don't dance.
Oh.
Dance.
That might be true.
Yeah.
They might not be able to.
Something changes in their brain.
Speaking of changing in your brain and dancing, we took mushrooms last weekend.
Oh, yeah, we did a little bit of a trippy trip.
Just wanted to talk about it. Just in case anybody was curious about mushrooms in general. Alaina and I have taken to microdose on kind of a regular schedule for a couple years.
Yeah.
And I, as someone who suffers from depression and anxiety, really has been very helpful for me.
Yeah.
And I think was instrumental in me helping to grieve the loss of my mother over the last year and some months.
Yeah.
And every time I do it, I have like a really good like breakthrough and an epiphany, and I like it just really is helpful. But
Kylie Jenner realizing things.
Exactly. But we were like, let's try and not do microdose. Let's take a little bit more. Let's see
macrodose.
Let's macrodose. Let's try it. Like I've never really like tripped that on like, psychedelics super hard. I usually keep it tight.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's just gonna be the two of us
in
here.
a controlled setting.
Yeah.
We like set up little blankie stations. We had like. What else do we have? Oh yeah, we like had these like perfect meditation things and
yeah,
like,
we
whatever.
did. What was the Institute?
Yeah, we did the Institute.
We did the one that it's like the astral projection meditation.
Yeah, that shit works.
We did that, and then we listened to some like it's called like binaural or binaural. What is it when it's like
yeah,
some stuff like that. It was a very cool. I personally had a really cool experience. It was really nice, and the whole time I just felt like this overwhelming sense of just like love and joy. And like I was watching this tree outside for a while, like laying there like watching the tree, and my brain something when you're like kind of tripping is like your brain likes to repeat little words and things like that.
Yeah.
And my brain kept going, very good.
What was that thing when we were microdosing and we had microdosed, which when it's subperceptual when we microdose.
It's subperceptual. So you're not high, but you just you get into the flow state, which is just like kind of focused.
Yeah, it's like pretty nice. But there was like one time where I guess we had done it and like the next day you were like, I can't stop like repeating this thing in my head.
Yep. And then I told my sister about it and she goes, that's from the shrooms.
Yeah.
She's good. My sister's like a little bit more versed in like the psychedelics and stuff. So it's so funny because like when your little sister like tells you how to do stuff, I think it's like so cute and funny. Because I'm like, Jebby, how do you do this? Like, Jebby, is this normal?
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and she's like, Jocelyn, just relax.
I know, right?
Another thing that happened is my sister, after the last podcast, what was I talking about? Oh my God, but I'm a cheerleader.
Yeah.
I was talking about like, I hadn't seen it till I was in my 20s. Oh my I like have blocked out so much of my life. So my sister calls me and she's like, I've just watched your podcast. And she's like, you watched this movie all the time in high school. She's like, it was one of Mom's favorite movies. We watched it all the time.
Yeah, it was like on TV all the time.
And we like always watched it. And I was like, oh my God, we did.
That's so
I forgot
funny.
that it was one of my mom's favorite movies.
Yeah, your mom would like put movies on all the time that were like the same movie all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like on TV, she would put it on.
Which is a sign of anxiety. She just was like,
Amongst
I've seen this
things.
one.
Your mom had the most, I think I talked about this before, but she had the most iconic DVR.
Yes.
After she had passed.
And my God. When we looked at her DVR, we're like, what's on here? And it was like.
It was All That Jazz.
Which is like the only recording
and
of
like
it.
The Masked Singer.
It was like All That Jazz, the Albert Finney Scrooge from like 1970 something.
Oh my God, my tissue.
The Bad Seed.
She and I watched The Bad Seed.
Isn't The Bad Seed great? We should do The Bad Seed for a campfire. It's fucking great. It's campy as shit.
Yeah, it is.
I love apricot juice. I'm good at taking pills.
I'm obsessed with the concept of it, too.
Yeah. An evil little girl. I love it.
Yeah, it's like the prequel to We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Good for her.
I know, good for her.
Do you know what the concept of The Bad Seed is, too? Is that the woman who's the mother of the bad seed, her mother was like a murdering psychopath, and she passed it down. And
generationally?
Yeah, so she's like still dealing with the trauma of her like crazy mother, and then she like realizes her daughter has it.
Wow.
Like what she has. And she's like, the whole time she's like Like, it's like
oh
incredible.
My God.
And then she tries to, actually, if we're going to do it, I shouldn't tell you guys what happens because it's really
That made me think of like how the other day we realized that smoking skips a generation because people forget how gross it is.
Oh my God.
Like,
yes, we were talking about generational smoking habits. So the greatest generation, which is like my grandmother's generation, those motherfuckers knew how to smoke.
Yeah.
Those bitches literally, my grandmother smoked through all of her two pregnancies and smoked while she was giving birth. And she told me the doctor who was delivering the baby also was smoking. They literally, and when she came home, she has an ashtray from giving birth at each of the hospitals.
There's like, congratulations.
A congratulations ashtray.
Oh my God.
We have the hospital. I have it. A hospital
That's
ashtray.
Incredible. America.
It's
like they smoked it as if like it was good for you and they were being paid.
Yes.
Are they influencers? Like,
but
oh
Cindy,
my God.
I want you to go down to the store and get me a cotton lax. I need a cotton lax.
And then like the brand loyalty to like what
Larks,
brand it was.
Larks.
Like you live in Marlboro.
Yeah, she like Larks. Ever heard of it?
Does it Marlboros.
Does it exist anymore? Larks?
I've never heard of it.
I don't know why she liked that over the other thing. Anyway, she did end up quitting at some point, but they smoked, but because they smoked, the boomer generation, I find, smoked a lot less.
Yeah, my parents didn't smoke.
Neither did mine, and it was because they were so disgusted from being like kids of smokers.
Uh-huh.
And then Gen X, because they were like a little bit more removed from it, they smoked.
They smoked so much.
Gen X smoked.
It was like their entire personality.
It was like if you watch like all like the Gen X movies and teen movies, like people be smoking.
I mean, Romy Michelle's like a plot point.
Right. Exactly. Quick burn cigarettes.
I mean,
for the lady on the go.
Garofalo's Barbie comes with cigarettes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So then we didn't smoke really. We're kind of like after that. So then we don't smoke.
No one I know smoked
like,
at all.
So it's
we had a moment with
not.
cloves in college, but like who didn't?
If you didn't smoke cloves with a clove and a Smirnoff Ice.
Yep.
Take me to the fucking hospital.
The kind of diarrhea that I induced. I just liked them because they were black. I thought they looked cool. And I liked that they tasted cool.
Yeah. But they're gross. And the smell really is...
No, they're gross.
It stays. So it's greatest gen smokers, boomers, not smokers. Gen X, smokers. Millennials, not smokers. Gen Z, vapors and smokers.
Gen Z be smoking. They caught Jenna Ortega smoking. Now everyone thinks that Gen Z is like smokers.
So I could be totally wrong about this. I haven't done like a sample size, but I think that smoking is every other generation.
Like we have a really short memory span for smoking. We forget.
Just like either you had it in the house and you're sick of it, or you didn't and you're gonna have some cigarettes.
Yeah.
And that's really it.
If you're like the victim of secondhand smoke, like you fucking hate that shit, right?
Also, there was just something about growing up and going to a restaurant and where there was smoking and non-smoking sections as if it mattered.
I know.
The minute we have one cigarette inside this Applebee's, the whole Applebee's is a cigarette.
I know. And now, like 30 years later, we're fighting about masks. We're so stupid. I'm like so annoyed.
It goes back to that stand-up of like, just say it's not. It's like, why don't you just print more money? And then it's like, well, if we print more money, it won't be worth as much. Well, say it doesn't.
I know, right?
Let's say it doesn't. You just have to say it doesn't.
There's like the levers of the economy. Or like, well, levers? Is it literally that guy with the button, like the meme of like the two red buttons?
Yes.
Of like, this one implodes the economy and this one also implodes the economy.
Right.
We're fucked either way.
Yeah.
So may as well have a good time.
Like at some point, somebody's going to have to, for the world, someone's going to have to go, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We got to do over. Reset.
I mean, the Monopoly game is over. We're like playing this Monopoly game still.
Everybody has so many houses on the blue section.
Like the bank is empty.
The bank is empty. We cannot pass go.
Yeah.
We cannot collect $200.
Why is Bob the bank?
Right. Why do you Monopoly is the perfect example.
It is. That's the game.
One person ends up with everything.
Yeah.
And then someone cries.
And we're all in jail.
Guys, have you ever played Monopoly where someone cries? Comment below. I think
that's the only way to play it.
You have to cry.
On my mushroom trip,
Yes.
I'm like a little sensitive flower.
Right.
So I like feel things.
Happy Cancer season.
Exactly. I reverted into my Cancer shell and I like put blankets all over myself and like had my little headphones and it was like.
You were precious.
And I was like.
Every time I looked at Alaina, she was like.
For literally 4 hours, I was just like. And then everything was rainbows. At first, it looked like intestines I was like seeing.
Oh,
it was like,
God,
am I being
Alaina.
born? Like, is this a canal? But it was like also rainbows. And it was like, everything is light. Rainbows is light. It's prism light, you know, right? And it's like, you know, it made me think of like taking down Pride, whatever, from, I was like, this is literally light blocking. It's light blocking.
The
You
removal
want to
of
be in
rainbow.
darkness. It's the Dark Ages. Oh my
Right.
God. And religion is light blocking.
It is. Unless you're doing it right. But
There's no, I mean,
we're talking about organized.
I'm talking about organized
not spirituality.
No,
guys.
do whatever you want.
Do whatever you
got
to do. Yes.
Organized religion that is meant to control people.
Yeah, and oppress.
Light blocking. Light blocking.
Yeah, there was, for me too, a big thing about colors.
Yeah.
Sounds so obvious, guys. I was like, I took a mushroom trip and boy were there colors. But boy were there.
Yeah, but why not just, reiterate it?
A thought that I had that seemed like forever, but was probably a minute, was literally me like sitting on our gray couch, and I was like, gray is pastel black, and black is every color.
Okay, Miranda Priestley.
Right. So when I was like looking at the couch, in the gray couch, I was like, it's just pastel rainbows. And then when you look at black, you can see all the colors at once. And it was just
Beautiful.
like, it's just like vibrations and colors and like prismatic. It was just gorgeous.
That's the thing about it too. It's like feeling like you're on a different vibration.
Yeah, it's like almost like you tuned your radio a little bit different. That's like the best way to describe it. But the best thing that we did, which really was amazing, is like once it started to like, it peaks at some point where you're like literally like,
like I needed the grounding of the headphones and like the vibrating noises going.
If you guys are interested in the thing we listen to, I'll post it, because it's actually, even if you're just like meditating or you want to chill out and you're not doing anything, it's so nice because it just like massages. It's beautiful, like sound, like vibrations and sounds and trickling, and it really tickles your brain. We listened to it for 2 hours straight, you guys.
If not longer.
That's how, like, we literally just laid there. It was at least 2 hours.
Yeah.
And we were just like, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But what was the point I was going to make?
What we did after that.
Alaina was a genius, and she started putting on Kylie Minogue videos.
Well, it's just, this thing led right into Padam Padam. Padam Padam is like a hypnosis.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it feels kind of like that vibe, where it was like...
It was. I was like, Padam Padam sounds like a great thing to put on right
you're
now.
Hypnotizing us.
Kylie's on drugs. She knows.
Kylie is on drugs.
Yes, in a good way.
The entire Kylie Infinite Disco, the disco album, is all about shrooms.
It's tripping.
All she talks about is space.
And we started watching all of her like music videos and stage shows. That shit was psychedelic as hell.
I'm obsessed with her. Say Something? Hello. Watch Say Something when you're on shrooms. It's like amazing.
Oh my God. We were just having a dance party best. It was awesome. It was just the two of us by ourselves.
On the flight home from Austria, I watched Infinite Disco. For some reason, it was on the plane. So good. Yeah. And, like, the entire plane was like very chill, but here I am just like,
I know, I would look over at her and she'd be like
ding, 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 ding.
With like your neck pillow on and like covered, and you're
dancing
just like
together, nothing else can be better.
Yeah, so having this, I've always been a Kylie head, but having this experience with Kylie, and like I feel like connected to her very much so, because she had me in one of my vulnerable moments. I'm obsessed with Kylie. I loved it.
Let's talk about how Kylie is amongst a very small group of people, including Cher, who have had 36 years in between charting on top 10 hit.
That's unbelievable.
She gave us the fucking locomotion.
That is the definition of still got it.
Like, she was like, I was watching this interview with her and she was talking about like, and she was in Sydney and she went to like a Kylie Minogue drag night in her 20s, and it was like the 90s, and I'm like, I can't believe this bitch has been famous for this long. It's crazy.
We've been doing the locomotion with her.
Everybody's doing a brand new dance now. I also love that she's like 4'11".
And she's also like 58.
She's 55.
55. She looks
she's
fucking
the same
incredible.
Age as Nicole.
Nicole. These Aussie gals.
Nicole.
I have like, I'm sorry, I've been watching Love Island, so I can't do any accent but a Love Island moment right now. That's it.
Oh, I wish I could talk about Love Island.
I know.
We're nearing the end here. Is everyone watching Love Island? So we can talk about it, please.
Please watch Love Island. No, we're not nearing the end of Love Island, but we're nearing the end of the episode. Guys, please watch Love Island. We have to discuss. It's so good. Like the way that Alaina and I watch it, and I don't know if this is like a gay thing or an us thing,
if we're doing
an autistic thing or a whatever thing.
Yeah.
But we literally watch it and we pause it, like as if we're watching like, now this creature is going. It's almost like sports and like the planet. What's his name? Like David Attenborough.
Yeah.
Like it's very much. Now this one is upset. Like it's just very much like. I watch it as like a therapist.
It's straight anthropology.
And it's very much like it's kind of a gender and sexuality performance that we're watching. And
it's funny to watch it progress as society progresses out of the typical straight heteronormative relationship roles.
Right.
Like I feel like people are moving past like, or they're starting to realize that relationships are more than just like man woman, and that oftentimes
this performances.
Yeah,
but
it's
I'm
not
a cheerleader
roles,
of it
it's
all.
actual feelings.
Right,
It's like
partnerships, people, connection.
Right, and it's they're still kind of doing this dance, and it's not It's not really holding up.
One thing that I think is really interesting about it too is Lena, that it's almost like they use these roles as an entry point. And then once the people, and I find
to start
negotiations, when the first 2 weeks or so of Love Island, I do hate everybody.
I know, right?
This is just something about me, and I don't hate them all, but I'm just what is all this? Because I feel like it's really inauthentic.
Yeah, it's toxic behaviors.
Right, but once they start to cool off and open up and stop they put away all their defense mechanisms and all this, and they just start to connect.
Their walls come down.
I fall in love with all of them.
Yeah.
It's every time. And it's a good reminder for me that's you have to give people a chance to show you themselves. Because we're all walking around. We all have our trauma. We're all protecting ourselves. And we don't necessarily show everybody the best version of ourselves straight off the bat. Mm-hmm. So it really was a good thing for giving people a chance. And they show you about these kids are good at communicating, I feel like. And some of them are oh, I read this book, and
can you believe?
Oh, when Zachariah goes, I read a book about when people say you hurt them, and you have to take accountability for your actions. I was like, these boys be reading.
Boys better start reading books.
It's hot. It was hot. When I was he read a book about what?
So, and I feel in the UK, I feel like they don't love TV drama the same way we love it here. Our reality shows are so much more messy and hardcore.
And they don't get lovable after a while because it's still so competitive.
Yeah, it's more competitive. In the UK, I feel like in every Love Island, they are really good at conflict resolution. They kind of nip shit in the bud right away because they know they have to live there together.
I wonder if they're produced to do that.
I think they are, but it's good. It's good because it
you gotta stay here.
Yeah, and things that people fight about die off in an episode.
Yeah, you get to see people.
It's not like Housewives where we're still fighting about
the same
dog
shit. Yeah, right. It's actually that's a really good point of why I like Love Island versus the House. I got tired of the Housewives, you guys. I
don't watch it anymore.
We don't really. There's no franchise I'm watching right now, and
That being said, I will watch Lake whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah,
Chappie Lake.
It's Death Becomes Her at a lake. I'll be watching that. But yeah, they don't. I like to see people be able to resolve if as long as there's not a toxic person that's being terrible.
But even when there is, in Love Island, they manage to correct it because it's a group of it is very David Attenborough nature.
It's an experiment.
It's these group of people are going to correct this person.
It's an unnatural thing that happens. Okay, we're going to go put people that don't know each other on an island for 2 months and see what record their every move and see what happens. It is an experiment. It is something to watch, and these people are brave. It's very scary.
I know, they're on there shaving each other's butts,
and you
shit,
really put yourself out there. And the cameras are very HD.
They have 2 bathrooms.
Yes.
That's
and they're
criminal.
naked basically on
that's
TV.
So rude.
So it's very brave to go on Love Island, and it's very easy to criticize all these people. So
I would never go on Love Island.
No,
absolutely not.
My hat goes off to them. Thank you for the entertainment, but it's truly very interesting, and it does remind you, just give people a moment. That also being said, red flags are red flags. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That doesn't mean you have to date them.
No.
But just
give it a sec.
You don't need to excommunicate them, I guess.
Right. Excommunicate.
But I just wanted to say one more thing about the mushroom trip is that for days this following week, I'm realizing things.
Absolutely.
Not necessarily in the trip itself. That was more of a sensory experience.
Yes.
But after the fact, I'm realizing things.
And another thing too is we were both so tired for a few days.
Yeah.
So I was doing some research about it, and basically just because you're using so much more of your brain than you normally do.
Yeah.
Because it's stimulating your senses so much more. You're physically and mentally exhausted.
Yeah.
But what it also does is when the first 6 years of our lives, we basically develop these trauma responses that we will then continue to repeat over and over again.
Right.
So we'll get a stimuli of some kind, and then we'll repeat those behaviors unless we recognize them and correct them or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So if we have all these trauma responses and this and that are hardwired into our brain as this is the app that I have for how I deal with this.
It's this and that.
Right.
Mushrooms
and even ketamine and these new sort of treatments that are psychedelic style treatments that they have for depression and anxiety are great because they help to stimulate and open up different neural pathways so that you can then have a different reaction or a way
even see that you're reacting
right.
that way.
It just gives you the clarity to
it
have
steps
a
outside of yourself.
different approach to your trauma.
Like, I thought that I was pretty aware of like everything that I was experiencing emotionally on like a daily basis, you know, and like obviously I'm not. Like
right.
That's the hubris in me, I guess, my ego. But after this, like it helped you step back even more and be like, what are the things from your upbringing in your childhood that are still controlling you? Do you know what I mean? Like, yes. And there are still things that like,
of course,
that I am coping with and like,
working through.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's wild.
It's wild.
And it's the whole thing. That other TikTok that we saw of like, was it Oprah? Where that guy did that whole exercise of like taking you as a child like out of your home and like yes. they're with you now.
That exercise of like you're talking to your inner child and you're removing them from the trauma and you're gonna care for them now. Yeah. Oh, I cried during that. Yeah. It was beautiful.
It's wild to think of it.
It's like, on TikTok. I'll see if I can find it. It was on an episode of Oprah.
And it makes you kind of like reframe and be like, you are not your trauma. No. Like, and then it was weird. Like I looked at myself in the mirror when I was on mushrooms and like also afterwards and I was like, okay. I was like, this is you. You're okay. And I was like, that's your face. And I was like, wow, that's your face. You know what I mean? This is your little fucking car that you have.
Yeah, looking in the mirror it was interesting because I was just like.
And it made me think of like, spoiler alert for Beef, but it made me think of that last episode of Beef. Yes. When they're in the grass and like they're experiencing
Didn't they,
each
like,
other's.
Accidentally eat psychedelics outside?
Yeah. And they were in each other's memories. Right. Basically. And when I think Steven Yeun said, "You poor thing" to her. Oh. I can like choke up just thinking about it. When he said that, I was like, oh my God, like that's all anyone wants to hear.
It's just embracing your inner child.
You poor thing.
And just like, look what you've done through. Everyone's has their experience. Yeah. Everyone has a story. It's so true. Yeah, it's been a magical experience. If you guys are open to it, I think it's a cool thing to try. That's all I'm gonna say. I think it can be really healing, but you have to be in a good safe space and be careful, obviously. But
I don't know if I could like do Coachella on mushrooms. I don't know how people do that.
I can't do that all the time
in general.
I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm not like someone that's like, oh, I have to keep doing this. Like I need a moment. It really was
it took a lot of me.
I was exhausted. Even like that night, I was like, I'm fucking tired. Yeah. It really is you went on a trip.
Oh my God. It took me out more than that trip to Austria. I'm not gonna lie.
I was it is kind of like a jet lag for me personally. Yeah. And I don't know if that's like maybe a neurodivergent thing because I wonder if we experience it slightly different just because of how our brains work anyways. Yeah, because we're sensory overload. Yeah.
Like my hands felt like they were on fire for like days.
In a bad way or
no,
just
they were like hot.
Tingly? Yeah. No, I get that.
Anyway.
Well, on that note,
go do some mushrooms.
Yeah, do whatever you gotta do. And we're gonna be back next week I think we're gonna do a campfire next week. And we can't wait. It'll be something fun. And,
you know what I think we're gonna also do is maybe comment below what you guys think or like DM or chat to us. I think we should bring back some deep dives. Because we stopped doing deep dives and then we kept releasing candles and we didn't do deep dives on some of the candles that came out.
Should we bring deep dives back?
Just to mix it in with the campfires too.
Let us know if you'd like to see deep dives again. Yeah. I could do a couple book reports, tell you about some stuff.
Yeah, why not,
It's like info dumps, but for...
Because I was like, well, I wanted to do a Janet or a Mariah one. Yeah. I did a Britney one kind of. But... Right.
Yeah. Anyways, happy Pride, you guys. Happy Pride. Alaina, I think this might be coming out like on your birthday. So
it
happy
is my birthday.
Thank you. Is this June 30th? Maybe.
Yeah, it is.
If it's June 30th, it's Alaina's birthday. Wish her a happy birthday. She's finally 37. What a bitch. Took her 6 months to catch up to me. I can't believe you just said
how old I was on this freaking program.
You know how old you are.
I do.
Yeah. Well, I'm 37 and a half.
Und a half.
In half. Anyways, I love you guys.
I love you.
We'll be back next week. Please comment, subscribe, like, do all the things. Give us a 5-star review wherever you're listening. And write us at podcast@bijoutcandles.com with anything you want us to talk about or if you have any questions. And we'll see you next week. Have a great weekend.
Love you. Bye.
Love you, Candle Coven.